Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about the 2021 Apple TV series Foundation, starring Lee Pace as Brother Day, Lou Lobel as Gal Dornick, Laura Bryn as Demerzel, Terrence Mann as Brother Dusk, Caspian Bilton as Brother Dawn, Leah Harvey as Salvor Hardin, and Jared Harris as Harry Seldon. Show creators Josh Friedman and David S. Goyer, based on the Foundation book series by Isaac Asimov. And I'm going to be talking about the first 4 episodes that I've watched so far, and number 5 is coming out this week. So my background with this series, this is a series I've really looked forward to. I've covered it in the past in my channel, and it's strange that it hasn't been adapted earlier in the past, like as a big budget movie or a TV show before this, because the Foundation series is a very beloved science fiction book series by Isaac Asimov. And I've read the Foundation trilogy, the first 3 books. And there are more books in the series. I haven't gotten around to reading those ones yet, but the original Foundation trilogy is a book I really loved. I really liked it. And it's in my top 5 favorite science fiction books of all time. So I was really looking forward to this series. So now that I'm 4 episodes in, I kind of want to talk about what I like about the series and what I don't like about the series. So if you're not familiar with the Foundation, the whole concept, basically the story is that Harry Seldon is a mathematician who invents this type of math called psychohistory. And what it's able to do is predict the movements of mass populations over long periods of time. So through this, he can predict the rise and fall of civilizations, basically. And so he is kind of growing a following, and his psychohistory is predicting that within 500 years, this galactic empire that has spanned across the galaxy is going to collapse. And then humanity will be plunged into a dark ages that will last 30,000 years. But he can shorten the time by putting together what he calls a foundation. And that is basically a repository of all human knowledge that can shorten the darkness down to only 1,000. Now, that's what the book's about. So the series is very similar. But the series kind of goes into more details about the characters and stuff. And there's a lot more things in there that originally wasn't in the book. So first of all, when I watched the series, right off the bat, I have to talk about this. The special effects for this series is fantastic. It's really, really well done. The special effects is just mind-blowing. Even compared to other things on television, they really put a lot of money into the special effects of this series. And on top of that, the design of the ships and the cities and all that, they really took a lot of inspiration from all the past artwork you've seen of artists that did the covers for the Foundation series and all that for the series of books. And it looks like one of those covers kind of brought to life the way the ships look and the city looks, the way Trantor looks, all that. They did an amazing job capturing the look of all the past artwork that was done for the Foundation series. So that right off the bat. And right away, I really liked the character of Harry Seldon. I thought Jared Harris did a very good job portraying him, although he's not exactly what I envisioned Harry Seldon to be from reading the books. I pictured someone much older than Jared Harris, but he did a very good job. And the Emperor in this, Brother Day, the actor does a very good job on that. I really like the Emperor character and how he's... there's always 3 of them at any given time. And I also like his robot servant there, the woman that's always at his side, as a very interesting character. And also the idea behind the series, I just always found that even with the books and now in the series, the whole idea of being able to predict, or like this thing about how empires are built up. They go through a phase of building upwards, and then they have like the kind of like golden age, and then they start to decline and then eventually collapse. And the Foundation series was inspired by, I do believe, the rise and fall of Rome. And that's kind of like what it's been modeled after. So the concept behind the series is very, very interesting. And on top of that, another thing I liked about the series so far is you got to see Alexander Siddig in this series. Julian Bashir from Deep Space Nine. Always like when Star Trek actors pop up in other science fiction series. And I think he actually would have made probably a really good Harry Seldon as well. So that's some of the things I like about the series. And they do a really good job of getting this idea across of the rise and fall of the Empire and all that kind of stuff. That part is very well done. So now I'm going to get into some of the things I don't like, because there are some things about this series that I think could be better and I'm not really too hot on. So some of the things I don't like, most of the hero or good guy characters so far, I really don't find them all that likable or interesting. And this is something I hope changes as the series goes on, because it's only 4 episodes so far. And the other thing, and I think part of the reason is they try to go into the relationships with the characters between each other. And so the relationships between each other, when they're not focusing on the grand scheme of the grand story of this series, like the Empire collapsing and the psychohistory stuff and all that, when they start having these character moments, like between two characters, and it's just their personal lives, to me, it comes to a grinding halt. It's really boring, and I just want that to end really quick and get back to the other stuff. The relationships, like personal relationships between a lot of the characters in this, like, don't work at all. Like Hardin's relationship with her boyfriend, like whoever the guy is, can't remember the character's name, but whenever they're together in their intimate moments, don't care. Like, doesn't do anything for me. I don't think it really does anything for the overall story, nothing like that. And why, and I don't know, why it doesn't work. Now, The Expanse, I'm going to compare this series to The Expanse. So The Expanse has a lot of really good character interactions, and the characters have a very good relationship with each other, and it's a very character-driven show, and the books are like that too. And I think that's where the problem is. The Foundation trilogy, I don't know about the later books, but especially the first 3 books, they're not character-driven stories. They're more plot-driven stories, and the characters are there just more or less to push it along. So the books never really get into who they're dating, who they're sleeping with, if they have any relationship problems with their parents, anything like that. None of that's really in the book. The characters are more, like, the characters are kind of shallow, I guess, in the Foundation trilogy, because the book's not really about the characters. It's not really about these individual characters. It's about the rise and fall of an empire, and there's huge leaps in time throughout the book series. So now, after reading the Foundation trilogy and going into this series, I'm expecting the series to kind of be the same way, but they try to put all these character moments in there that, for me, they don't work and they feel kind of shoehorned in. Now, the other thing is, with The Expanse, it's different. The Expanse, where it's almost like the reverse of each other, these two sci-fi stories, where in The Expanse, you have this grand idea of humanity expanding outward through the solar system and then outward through the galaxy, through the ring gates and using the proto-molecule and all that. But the show's not really about the proto-molecule and these powerful aliens and, humanity's expansion. It's all that's there as a way to create situations where the characters have some kind of dilemma they have to get overcome, and it advances their character. So it's a very character-driven science fiction story. Like, what the nature of the proto-molecule and how it's in there, but it's not the main goal. The main goal or the main purpose of the story. The main purpose of the story is you're going along this ride, getting to know the characters. And it's how these characters interact. And that's what makes the stories really interesting in The Expanse. Where it's the other way around with the Foundation series. You're not really there to go along with the characters. You're there to see the whole grand idea play out of this galactic empire that rises, collapses, and then falls. And I think it's because of the source material that the two series are based on, where the Foundation series is trying to do the character stuff. But for me, anyway, it just doesn't work. But that's just my personal opinion. But I'm hoping if they have to do it, then I hope it gets better. Now, the one relationship I do find interesting in this book, so I'm going to talk, so spoiler alert, I'm going to talk some spoilers, is the relationship between this robot woman and the Emperor, or the three Emperors, because the Emperor, he seems to clone himself, so there's always three of them at the same time at different ages. So you have Brother Dawn, Brother Day, and Brother Dusk at any given moment. And so when the oldest one passes on, there's immediately another one that is born to take his place. And he has a very interesting relationship with this robot who's been around. They hint at the robot wars and all that. So you kind of get the idea that robots aren't really a thing anymore. Nobody has robots, but they were a thing in the past. And there was some catastrophe that took place called the robot wars. Now they're not around anymore, but she's still around, and she's like an old model. And she's like something from a relic from a bygone era. She has this really strange relationship with the Emperor. So that is an interesting interpersonal relationship that they have going on there. So now, as I said before, it's only 4 episodes in. So I'm hoping it gets better. The way the characters are developed gets better. And I hope the characters are made a bit more likable and interesting. And now the other idea they're going into with this series is, now again, spoiler alerts, is they have the idea that certain characters are special in some way. Like the one character at the beginning of the series, I think it's Gal Dornick, when she's going through hyperspace, she comes from a planet where like math is like forbidden or some weird stuff like that. So she's kind of like an outcast. So she wins a contest to go meet Harry Seldon. And so then while she's there in hyperspace, jumping through hyperspace, like no one's supposed to wake up, but somehow she can be aware while she's in suspended animation. So they keep alluding to her being special, but doesn't really know why. And so they're doing the same thing with Hardin, the Marshal. She's supposed to be special, but I kind of get the impression she's going to turn out to be Gal Dornick's daughter. That's what I'm guessing. And because the series is a little bit confusing in a way, it kind of jumps around back and forth in different time periods. And so that part is, you kind of got to pay attention there. So it's like from when they first set off in their spacecraft to go to Terminus, and at the point where you see Hardin is the Marshal on Terminus, I think that's like supposed to be like a 34-year jump or 30-year jump or something like that. And then one thing that happened that hasn't been explained yet, hopefully it will be, is the assistant of Harry Seldon, for some reason, goes crazy and kills Harry Seldon. So this assistant of Harry Seldon, that he, after he kills Harry Seldon, he puts Gal Dornick in like an escape pod that almost seems like it puts her in suspended animation. Now, they had a relationship together, and I have a feeling that Hardin is their daughter. And so they keep alluding that Hardin is special and different, but they don't really let the audience know why, but everyone seems to think this. That she's like some rogue element that wasn't a part of Harry Seldon's plan. And I'm not really sure how I feel about this idea of having these almost like people born with superpowered mathematician skills, I guess. I don't know. I think that's where they're going with it. I'm not sure. But I do believe that's going to be the reveal, is that because the way they do the children, the women don't actually carry children. Once the baby is so far, it's put in almost like a canister and stored away in some kind of a thing, just in case something happens to the mother, the baby lives. So she's been floating out around in space after all this time, and the Foundation has been set up. Hardin's the Marshal, and I think she's going to find her way, Gal Dornick's going to find her way to Terminus and explain to Hardin why she's so special, because that's actually her mother, and that's where I think it's going anyway. And so I don't know how I feel about the whole being special thing and special people being born, because it wasn't part of the book, so I don't know where they're going with this, but whatever, I'm going to give it a chance. So the last thing I have to talk about now is should you watch this series if you get the chance? I think yes, you should. I would recommend it because the good outweighs any of the bad that I've talked about so far. There's a lot of good in the series, and it's only 4 episodes so far, so there's a lot of room for things to get better and things to change, and for to get more invested in the series. But the one obstacle that might stop a lot of people from watching this, and it almost stopped me, is you have to pay for another streaming service to watch The Foundation. And so I had to get Apple TV to watch this. But the reason I did get it is because I bought an Apple iPad and I got a free 3-month subscription for Apple TV. So I thought, well, what the hell? I can watch the Foundation trilogy, check out the first season anyway. But now, beyond this series, there is nothing else worthwhile watching on Apple TV. Their library is extremely small compared to like Netflix and Amazon Prime and those other streaming services and Disney Plus. Very small. So, and what they do have of their own content, it's not worth watching. It's not worth paying for. So after Foundation's over, I don't think I'm going to keep Apple TV. But so there's that to keep in mind if you want to watch it. But if you do decide, it's really good. It's a really good series so far. It's a very good science fiction series. Definitely would recommend it. I'm curious to see, and there's a lot of ideas in this series that I've talked about that they're not in the books. So I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to do with these ideas and where they're going to go. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.